first time I remember putting rosemary on meat and putting it in the Rayburn, I put, let's go to the garden and get some rosemary, and I covered it, and all I tasted, didn't taste the meat. It was just rosemary. It was a rosemary experience. So I learned from that this is very, very strong herb. So if you look at it, it's got modified leaves. It's not got a big flat leaf, it's got a rounded leaf. Does anybody know why? To do with the water evaporation, yes, because it comes from a very hot climate. So it has limited transpiration. It's also a little bit waxy, which reduces the water loss as well. Yeah. Can you feel that waxiness? Yeah. So when you're planting your rosemary now in your garden, if you're having any, or any plants like an erica which has a fine modified leaf, one of the key things it does need, because the leaf is small, it needs full sunshine. Lots of sunlight. So if you've got a big leaf, you go in the jungle house in the jungle biodome, whatever it's called, here. The big leaves are there. They'll be found at the bottom of the canopy in the jungle. They've got big leaves because the maximum area to get the maximum amount of light, because the light's pouring at the bottom of the jungle floor. Okay. Rosemary will grow up on an outcrop of rock, a little bit, perhaps like we would have a heather growing. It will grow in quite an exposed area. Okay. So, one of the herbs which has, and I'm going to come to a little bit later, has the most outstanding collection of chemical constituents in it, and can do more for you than most in this country, is one that will have caused you more stress in your garden than most, and that's stinging nettles. Stinging nettles. Stinging nettles seem to have such a huge range of gifts that it can give to you. From being a remineralizer, if your mineral levels are low, to at least being a tonic, a blood cleanser. It can help the iron balance in your body be raised. It can help you if you've got a sweet tooth, to reduce your level of sweet tooth. I know none of you in this room have that. It's not a Western world issue. Okay. But nettles are good. If you're going to pick your own, that's fine. Be careful. Do not pick them when they're in flower or just about to come into flower or just flowers. Pick them in spring, January to sort of April time. Okay? If you don't, as Bronze Age people found, you'll get kidney problems. Okay. So which part of the herb do we use? Leaves?
All of them.
Bark?
Roots?
Roots? All of it. Okay. So you can use anything from the flower to the leaf to the roots. What else? Seed maybe, stems, or the fruit. There's some bizarre ones. The black walnut, don't use the walnut, they use the hull, it goes around the walnut. That's very good for antibacterial, cystitis and that sort of thing. But it's a bizarre thing. I often think, how did people discover? What did you do to get to that? So, yeah, so from that point of view, also that crosses over with some of the edible fruits, because another good one for your sweet tooth, which I know none of you have, is blueberries. Now, who likes blueberries? Good. So if you eat enough blueberries, you will help cover your sweet tooth desire. You will reduce your sweet tooth desire, a bit like with nettles. Okay, so you can gorge yourself on blueberries. If that's your thing, you might like your nettles. Would you want me to go into what happens when you have a sweet tooth?
No, thank you.
You were there yesterday. And what did you talk about? Okay. So, when you start getting into this, you begin to see that you're walking around on a planet which has many of the answers with the material that's actually growing around you. I know we're more cosmopolitan with our plants now than we would have been a couple of hundred years ago. And you have the ability to preserve these plants when they're at their prime, so you can dry them or make a tincture or an oil, whatever you need to make. So you're in the perfect world. It's everything's there. and then the pharmaceuticals. Now, we know that we've had this thing about peak oil scare. Come across that? Where they think that all the oil that we're going to get out is at its level now and it's diminishing on everything. We've just been experiencing this issue about cash flow, I would say. Now, all big business is reliant on that. If the cash stopped flowing tomorrow, or there was no more oil, certainly 40% of pharmaceuticals come from the oil production. Think of things like Vaseline, those sort of things. If everything went, use the word carefully, at least the next day you still have your plants and your herbs. And you go back to doing what your grandparents would have done several generations ago. Yeah? And we'll be able to survive. So do bear that in mind. Also bear in mind, we know that herbs have side effects. Part of my observations are, when you start extracting bits of herb, for instance, the active ingredients or what's perceived to be the active ingredients, and making your pharmaceutical drug, and which can work very well, I observed that the list of side effects of that pharmaceutical drug is far greater than the list you would have just for the herb. Because the herb in nature is as naturally balanced as you're probably going to get. It's got what it needs to have in it. You start pulling bits out and it imbalances the effect that it has on us when we take it, or any animal when we take it. Yeah. So from that point of view, it's a better balance for you. And particularly if any of you, and I know that this won't be anything for you lot, but when you get older, you might find that you get, the light's going out, does that mean? When you get older, you might find that you have to have continual help with your health. And just bear in mind, if you're going to have something continually, there's a compound effect of that, and that can be with herbs as well. So you want to try and look after yourself as best you can. And most of the people I deal with have decided to take responsibility and come to me and say, well, this isn't working, that's not working, I'm not sure where I'm going wrong, what can we do? Most people. There are a few people who come to me because their other half told them to come to me. And then you've got to deal with that as best you can. Whereas poor GP's got to deal with everybody, whoever comes in. So I do have a bit of sympathy for it.